I was just talking about the opportunity to have faith. And, when you go through a struggle, ask what the message in the message is. Like, ask what the message in the message, rather. Don't look for the message and don't look for all the why me, why me, why. Because it's wasted energy, man. And look, we only get so much energy. You know that. I mean, you only get so much bandwidth to deal with stuff. You can't focus on why this stuff's happening to you. You got to focus on what's the message and then flip it, man. Flip the script.
Well, for sure. But I think one of the things that I love about your story is that you wouldn't have been able to take care of your child unless you had found this everyday Saturday dream. This whole everyday Saturday came true for you. I mean, you even, your backstory is that you opened up a franchise that crashed and burned. You put a lot of faith into something, and then you had to kind of rethink it a little bit. I don't think you'd had your baby yet, and then every day Saturday starts taking off, and then you get into podcasting, and then it's basically providence, but the God, the universe saw fit in order for you to give you what you needed to have a good life and to keep your child alive. And so I think that it's really an amazing story to see that kind of come to fruition. And you did it again, not necessarily in a competitive plane. You did it in a creative plane, and you did it. One of the things, and let me just try and navigate this. One of the things that they even talk about in the book, in The Science of Getting Rich, is you can do nothing better but then to go live the example of going to get rich and through a creative plane and lead others into that space.
Yeah.
And that's basically, kind of what you have done. Thanks, Charles. Appreciate that. Charles Johnson saying, 2 of my favorite guys to listen to. Awesome. Appreciate that, Charles. That's basically what you've done, though. And that is what you are doing now. You've done all of these things that are basically your embodiment of the science of getting rich, as far as I can tell. And how does that make you feel to hear that?
Well, look, it's a great compliment. Thank you. I received the compliment. I by no means think I've arrived anywhere because, there's just so much to do. And I don't think I did anything special. I quit a job. I mean, how crazy is that to think, when people moved to the United States and they settled, they didn't go get a job. They came over here as entrepreneurs to build whatever it is. I mean, cobblers and shoes and, go do stuff. And we've lost a lot of that entrepreneurial, gift, I think, because we've kind of settled into this, well, I'm going to go to college and then I'm going to go get a job. Well, I just don't think everybody should do that. And I think that we're out of the industrial age. We're in the information age. I mean, we got 16-year-old kids building apps, making $100,000 a year, some making $100,000 a month. You can flip something on eBay. You can buy something on Craigslist at 8 this morning and flip it by noon and make $50. I mean, there's so much opportunity out there. What I did back in the day, some 13, 15 years ago, was I just said to hell with it, man. I'm so tired of being average. And I was making $100,000 a year, $110,000 a year salary, stock options, and all that stuff that comes with that stuff. But I was so miserable, man. I was a father of 2, never saw my kids, had another one on the way. Yeah, I bought a Quiznos. I was the 1 out of 10 that didn't succeed. Lost everything, went bankrupt. Had to go back to the company, working in a TS telephone sales capacity, making $30,000 a year. None of that bothered me. I mean,
but the deal is. The deal is that you found something good out of it, that you wouldn't have had the podcast without it.
No, exactly. I would never have had the podcast. I wouldn't have had any of that stuff, man. I wouldn't have built Every Day is Saturday. I'd be stuck in who knows where. I would have been relocated 3 more times. And I just didn't want to be like everybody else. And I think, all of us are born an original, but most of us die a copy. And we just want to fit in when we were born to stand out. We just want to, we don't want to upset the apple cart. We want to, that is such crap, man. You weren't built like that. You've got an incredible gift inside, and you're not sharing that because you're worried about failing or what somebody else is going to think. Most of it's about what other people think about us. If we're really honest with ourselves, we really care way too much about what other people think about us, So that's why I didn't care anymore. I'm like, well, it is going to matter because people are going to talk about me and this and that. But boy, at the age of 37, I mean, I could see if I was 17 years old having those thoughts, but can you imagine being a 37-year-old man, father of two, with another one on the way, worrying about what other people think about you and allowing that to drive your decisions? It's insane, man. But yet people at 57 still worry about that stuff. They're attached to a title. They're buying things they can't afford with money they don't have to impress people they don't even like, and then they're going to die. And that's the end of their life. And I didn't want to be that guy.
Yeah, no, that's a sad way to be.
Yep.
He talks a lot about doing things in a certain way. I know it's been a long time since you read the book, but he talks about doing things in a certain way. What does that mean to you, if you can recall?
Doing things a certain way. You mean repetition? Doing things your way?
I think what he was saying in the book was that you do things to advance all others. Always give more value to somebody than what you're getting paid, I think is another big one too. So a lot of times, like there are hucksters out there that are going to take your money and not really give you true value for that. But his intent in the book is to give more value, use value than cash value. And that's part of the way. Was that always something that you had done intentionally, or was that something that you came to realize?
I think giving this stuff away, what I wanted to do, some of the best advice I got when I first started was to go research people in your niche that are doing really well, find out what they're creating, and then give that away. Like give it away. So when I got started in the inspirational, motivational, thought leader type space, everybody was doing, nobody was doing a podcast, but everybody was doing some sort of audio MP3 download or some sort of little quick hit video. Video hadn't really happened on the scene, but a few guys were taking advantage of it. Guys and girls were doing that. So I just started creating courses that I felt were just chock full of great content. And I gave it all away. Facebook wasn't around, so I would just go into a bunch of forums, personal development forums, and I would search forums on the internet and find the ones to go into. And I would give away all my content. And I would give away CDs. I'd give away MP3 downloads. It wasn't as easy in 2004, 2005 to just download an MP3. I mean, there wasn't like Amazon S3 or a lot of file sharing stuff. Like you had to have a guy load it up to your website and give away the link, stuff like that. But I didn't let that stand in the way because I wanted to give away what everybody else was selling. And that was the only way I could differentiate myself because nobody knew me. It's not like anybody knew who I was. And so
if you're giving everything away, how are you making any money?
Because you're putting in your mind that, wow, that stuff that guy gives away is killer. I can't imagine when he sells it. The stuff he sells has got to be just amazing content, you know? So when I came out with a product launch a couple of years later, it wasn't a couple months. It was a couple of years of grinding and speaking on stages and nobody showing up and going all over the place to speak just to get the message out.
Why didn't you quit, Sam?
Well, I didn't quit because I would have been because first of all, I shot my mouth off really, really big about every day is Saturday. Like when I finally got the website, I bought it from a guy out in Oregon who had it forever. I got it. I built the website. I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to be an international speaker and a pod. So I was way too into this game to back out. And I think there's something to that, man. You know?
I do think there's something to that.
You know, you go tell enough people about where you're going, that gives you very little space to wiggle out. You're going to have to come up with a really crafty story about how the hell to get out of that story,
right?
That situation. You know, when I bought Quiznos, it was just like, I bought a Quiznos, it failed. Everyone's like, yeah, you're an idiot. Yeah, no big deal. You know, we all get one of those or even two of those mulligans, you know. Right. But when I told everybody about everydayissaturday.com and I was going to go be a speaker and I'm traveling the world and I got a podcast, none of that actually happened. I mean, I called myself an international speaker. I didn't even have a passport at the time, you know?
Right.
So even if I got hired, I couldn't have gone to speak. But I say all of that because when you start telling them the story, who you're really talking to is yourself and you're telling yourself that story. Right. So when I would say it out loud, it's like when you read out loud, you retain better. You know, sometimes when you read something out loud, then you hear it audibly and you're speaking it. When you speak that stuff and you're telling people where you're going, you're really selling yourself because that's the hardest person to sell. Like you can BS anybody and they're not even listening half the time. Like, oh, great, you're going to be a speaker, do that. That's great. But you're really selling yourself about where you're going. So I couldn't quit because I told so many people about where I was going to go and what I was going to do that I would look like I would have had to like go into the witness protection program if it failed badly, you know, or if it failed would have been great. But had I quit, You can't quit.
Can't quit. And
And look, the business was built because my daughter used to ask, "Daddy, is tomorrow Saturday? Daddy is." It wasn't just like I came up with it out of nowhere. It was etched in my heart. As I said about find answers in the heart. That's what
right.
faith. That was kind of a heart thing. It wasn't just like, oh, I'm going to build an affiliate site, drive traffic, and then shut it down. It didn't work. That's not. This was way more than that.
Right. Right. When you put your heart into it, you put your heart into it. You've got you've got your why and your purpose, man. You've got something more than dollars driving it. One of the other things, and we'll wrap it up here in a couple. One of the other things that I love about it is like he talks about, if you don't have, it's better to do something that you already have the talents to do.
Yep.
But it doesn't mean you can't go learn new skills to do something. You're just going to take a little bit longer to get to that point. And one of the other things he talks about is, if you're not in the right location, get to the right location. And that book was written in 1903. So if you've got a brick and mortar place right now, makes sense, right? Get up, move the location. But there's no reason that I can see in my mind that you can't just fire something up and do it all online right now.
Yeah.
Is there a better location?
No, I mean, online is, to me, everything. I mean, look, you could talk to somebody across the world in Australia right now. It's 9:43 in the morning the next day, and you could get somebody on Skype or Facebook or any Vox or whatever it is, and just talk to people, sell people, communicate, network, joint venture, everything. There's no reason right now in this day and age in 2018 where we are right now that people can't get online, create a movement. And look, I'd love to say you're going to make money. You will make money. But if you're doing it because of that, don't even do it, because it's not necessary. The money's going to come to you anyway. And here's the thing, though, expectations. I need to make money. Well, if you need it, then stay in your job and do it part-time, pressure off. Don't do what I did. I tell them, don't ever do what I did, because what I did is absolute. I look back now and I think how insane it was, but it felt so just freeing at the time to do it,
Right. If you had a biggest takeaway from the Science of Getting Rich that you recall from 20 years ago, what would you say it was?
Well, here's the thing. I'm not even going to say it about the book. I'm going to say about the guy that introduced me to the book, Bob Proctor. Mm-hmm. That's the single biggest takeaway. Because when you say Science of Getting Rich, I think of Bob Proctor, because Bob's the guy who I met, and then I shared the stage with him, I think 2 or 3 times. And he was teaching from this thing, man, back when I first got started. And I'm like, wow, he's given I always thought he wrote it I don't even know when I realized he didn't write it, but that's how much, when you identify yourself with a topic, a brand, and just a thought. Like, a lot of people teach Think and Grow Rich or Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and everybody's quoting Zig Ziglar and Robert Kiyosaki and people like that. And why do they do that? Because they associate, and Jim Rohn, the great Jim Rohn, Mm-hmm. People, because they want to associate themselves with those types of individuals because they're so revered and so admired in their space. So Bob Proctor was smart to attach himself to the Science of Getting Rich. Whoop, hold on, buddy. I get so jacked up. I unplugged my mic. I literally knocked my mic over. I get so freaking fired up about this stuff.
Can't make this stuff up. No, that's awesome.
Bob Proctor was just the guy that introduced me to this concept because think about that. Okay, let's break the word. Science, getting rich. That doesn't even make any sense, because most people don't think of getting rich as being a science, because science is all based on facts. Science means that it can be proven, right. Getting rich. This book, when I think of the Science of Getting Rich, I think of the man who introduced me to it. And then I think of how crazy that title is. What a great title. You're getting rich, and it's based on fact. It's not based on emotion or feeling or expectations or anything it's actually, there's a science to getting rich.
All right.
Brandon, that's got to blow your mind, man.
Dude, I got my head has been leaking for the past past month or so since I picked up the book and read it. Yeah.
And I love that it's all about creating. I love that because it does put a lot of emphasis on creating, standing out, trusting. Okay. You got to trust your instinct. You got to have faith that things are going to actually work out. It could what if something goes wrong? What if something goes right?
Yeah.
Are you even prepared? Most people are prepared for failure, but they're not prepared for success.
He talks about that too, like, being prepared for things going your way. Are you ready for when things
No, most
happen?
people aren't. They aren't. In my niche, where people want hire me to teach them how to speak on stage. Okay, they're not even ready. I go, what if you get a call to speak to 1,000 people tomorrow? What are you going to, I mean, what are you going to talk about? And if you got to sell a product from stage and the promoter splits 60-40 and every 90 minutes represents $500,000 to his business and he's looking at you with dollar sign, what are you going to sell from stage? What's your closing ratio? These are things you need to know. And they're like, you're not ready. You're more prepared to fail than you are to get on stage and have success, man, because we're just conditioned that way when we try something new. You got to just assume, man, you got to own it. That's why with Every Day is Saturday, that the brand is me and I'm the brand. They're interchangeable. It's one thing to be in business, and I guess this is my last thought. It's one thing to be in business, but brother, let me tell you, it is a whole different animal to have the business in you. And so you got to get to the point where the business is in you and you're not just in business, because there's no emotion tied to that. There's no, what if it fails? I'm just in business. No, man, when the business is in you, you can't fail. You won't quit.
Sam Crowley, everybody. Sam Crowley. Sam, what's going on with you these days? I know you got some buzz building. What is happening? I know you've just done a relaunch and it is spectacular. What do you got?
Dude, we launched the Momentum Club. You can check it out at mymomentumclub.com. And we always have the open Facebook group. It's free to get in there. Tell us about your dream. Go to Sam Crowley's group of dreamers, doers, entrepreneurs, or go to everydaysaturday.com/FB group. Either way, get in the free Facebook group. You can check out the Momentum Club. I appreciate the link there. But even if you don't want to join the Momentum Club, where we're hanging out every day and doing group coaching calls every week, all around just the topic of momentum, because so many people need that. Get inside our free Facebook group. We'd love to get to know you. We'd love to cheer you on. And we would love to hear about where it is you're going, man. I wish there would have been a group like that around when I first started, because, the fear is real and people get paralyzed by it, but we plow through it, dude, every day. So that's what's going on.
What I love about the group that you've created is that it's people supporting each other to go for the dream and cheering each other on and being there as a sounding board. And you're in there as well. I mean, to help each other out and help guide. Getting those lives is inspirational. And it's more than just inspirational. There's good value in it, Sam. So awesome, brother. I appreciate you hopping on for the Science of Getting Rich series, as done by the Fatherhood for the rest of us. I just think it's another tool, another asset that fathers can really take a look at and get their mindset right. Like you're always saying, if it's not just about the money, it's not just about being in competition. It's about kind of doing things for the right reasons. And once you figure out what those are, the money will follow.
Exactly. Amen. Amen.